This is Christina Barton. You're watching Black Tea News. You guys jumped on quick. Hello. This is Christina Barton. You're watching Black Tea News, and today we're going to be talking a bit about the media. Man, oh man, they want us to believe that Joe Biden talked to Hunter Biden's business partners about 20 times, and it was all about the weather. There was even somebody who brought up Bo dying, and um, it's just really fascinating the lengths they're willing to go to cover for Joe. And all this time, we know that in 2019, I think it was, Trump was impeached for looking into Joe over he's basically impeached for um looking into Joe Biden's corruption, and it's definitely corrupt. And it's funny because we know that Joe Biden has shifted from "I've never talked to my son about business dealings," and that's what he said multiple times throughout the campaign trail, and now it's shifted to, well, he only talked to Hunter's business partners about the weather repeatedly. And it's just so unbelievable. But the Democrats aren't going to care unless there's some kind, they wouldn't even care then. They're looking for some kind of financial smoking gun where, like, I don't know, a signed memo attached to a transfer that says, "Hey dad, this is for all the corruption." And even then, they probably wouldn't go along with it. So we're going to talk about that. Also, Lizzo, the singer, she's the Bigums who dresses really disgustingly. She's being sued by some former dancers for some really gross, disgusting behavior, which she does gross, disgusting behavior out in public, and I suppose at her concerts and things. But this is some really gross stuff. So weird stuff, really weird behavior, and even like fat shaming. Apparently, I'm like, you fat shamed your dancers? Okay, okay. So I want to talk about that, but also Stephen Amell. He's an actor. I know him. His kind of big thing that his breakout role was Arrow. He played Oliver Queen on the CW's Arrow, which I watched most of the seasons. But he did not approve of the strike, and so people are speaking out against him, including some people who he worked with within like the crossover events and stuff, who have spoken out and are upset about his take on things. But it just kind of goes to show you that I don't fault people for fighting for things that they feel they deserve, but the issue with unions is if you don't go along with it, they do bully you. So even if they might be fighting for some kind of inherent good, they do treat you unwell if you go against the grain. So we'll be talking about those things today. Before we jump into it, I want to encourage you guys, go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, different videos, etc. Last night I did have a live with This Is Savvy. We did talk in length about the Florida curriculum situation. I think that this happened after we got off air yesterday. So if you didn't watch that one last night, maybe you don't know, or maybe you saw it yourself. But Ron DeSantis did send out like an invite for Kamala Harris to come to Florida to obviously troll her a bit, but to give her the opportunity to settle this conversation and learn about what they were really trying to achieve, and also to talk to Dr. Allen about it. Man, there were some Trump folks that like Matt Gaetz had tweeted out, "Oh, you really this thirsty?" or something, and people are like, "Bro, like, why are you doing this?" So I don't think that she'll show up to have a productive conversation with him, because it's just meant as a smear tactic. And I don't appreciate the people who are I guess, in their feels about it, and aren't kind of just looking at history as what it was, and the people who are trying to reinterpret the meaning of the actual curriculum to be like, oh, they're saying slavery is good. That's not what it's for. So anyway, we had a good conversation last night. It was a little late for me, but it's probably to be on air going for as long as we did. It was about an hour, and I don't know, it was going on like an hour and 40 minutes, I think, ultimately. I thought I'm like, at one point, I looked at the clock. I'm like, this is good. We're going to be like done in an hour. And I looked up again, and it was like hitting an hour and a half. And then I'm like, oh, let me start closing up. So I think it went to maybe about an hour and 40 minutes or whatever. But this Savvy is great. She's so wise. So if you're not following her across like different platforms, she's on Twitter, she's on Facebook, she has a Substack, she has actually I don't I'm sure she has a Facebook. I don't know if she has like a public figure based book. She's on TikTok. She's very spicy on Twitter. But go find her in all the places. She's really really great. Um Please go check out the merch, like I said, that we have, like the different mugs and shirts and whatnot. Check out my books, like, of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at the website. It costs stream room and website and everything. So if you can support, God bless you. If you can't, thank you guys for still liking, for subscribing, for telling other people to watch and so on. That does help, since I am like monetized right now on at least YouTube. But if you can go that extra mile, thank you very much. I don't have anything funny for you guys, but maybe this whole conversation is a little hysterical funny. So with Biden and Hunter, I saw a TikTok live maybe about an hour ago, and there's this kid. He's like a big lefty, propaganda stuff. His name is Parker, but he was just his topic was, tell me why we should care about Hunter Biden. And the only reason to not care about Hunter himself is because you haven't been paying attention to all the ways that they've been intertwined with them. Their bank accounts have literally been intertwined. Hunter Biden sent a text to his daughter, I think in 2019, talking about how he pays for his dad's bills. Takes like, and his dad like takes like half his money or whatever. We know that a former business partner in the 2020 campaign came forward and talked about how Joe would show up to like meetings and stuff, and how he was the he was the big guy in their correspondence. So they're well aware that Joe's getting money. There's a lot of money that income that Joe has that is just unaccountable. Like, they don't know how he has so much. And of course, we know that Hunter has threatened people, business partners and stuff, and said that my dad's right here, right next to him. And we've gone through the evidence of Joe Biden being likely that they were together during that time, because there was different photos of Hunter like near the house that same day. So it's very likely that they were working together. It's just common sense. And obviously Hunter has been using his name for access. He said, it's obviously he wasn't qualified for a lot of things that he's had, like the board of Burisma. He said, his name has given him access. But Joe Biden, as he was the vice president, he's currently the president, but on the campaign trail in 2020, he said many times that he did not talk to his son at all about his business dealings, which was always stupid. It was a dumb lie. Nevertheless, it was the lie he chose to tell. So he would tell people that he never talked to his son about it. And even like a CNN panel was like, you never even talked to your son, even to like make sure there was no kind of complication. They would ride around the world on the same plane while Hunter was going to do business and Joe Biden was going to do VP kind of stuff. Allegedly, or as a cover, and what, no conversations at all about business, no kind of working together. So we know after the leak came out about Hunter, texting like, my dad's right here, the Hunter Biden's campaign put out like a statement, not his campaign, but his people were just like, a statement that essentially said you can't trust a crackhead. That was essentially like the statement. But Joe Biden, they shifted the language to I've never talked to any to my son about business to I've never been in business with my son. So the language has had a big shift. The press secretary was asked about it, and she said, "Nope, we've always maintained the same thing," which is a lie. In real time, it's so funny that these people are like, "We need to learn honest history." Y'all ain't even truthful about the present. Y'all ain't truthful about what happened yesterday. Y'all ain't truthful about what happened a week ago. We with evidence, like blatant evidence, like we have you like dead to rights. There were cameras everywhere, yet you still lie, and the people go on TV and they lie for you. So it's pretty amazing how they can just with a straight face say the darndest things that they know is untruthful, that we know is untruthful, and both sides can like say like I've seen people on our side like say things that I knew. I'm like, that's not on the up and up, and I know that they know better. Or I've seen people write different posts and stuff on stuff like when they were running cover for someone. I'm like, I know they know that they're lying. I'm like, why not just stay quiet? Why bring this up at all? Why lie? Why lie about this? Because I know you're lying. And it's going to come out eventually that you're lying and or just looking stupid. So I know that, I guess basically, it's more than politics. People do that outside of that, but politics, yes, people lie. Both sides of the aisle will lie and go out there and shill for liars because that's what they feel their job is, and they're playing for a particular team. But this is just too much. It's too much. It really is. Even the New York Times, they wrote an article after this hearing, and they're like, well, it's always been known that Joe Biden has talked to his, Hunter's business associates. I'm like, how can you write that? How can you write, like, maybe it's always been known or assumed, but that's not something that you guys have admitted, that you guys have really pushed around. And now you're trying to act like it's not a big deal when it was something that was fervently denied by the president. It's just bonkers. It's just really, really, really bonkers, guys. So let's just go through a little bit of what these folks are saying today.
Interesting about the Biden thing, the Republicans, it's just this internal primal urge to visit retribution on the Democrats. And the problem is they can't find a fact. So look, is there problematic questions about Hunter Biden? And I said something that shouldn't be controversial, which is that if you committed a crime, you should be held accountable. But have they pointed to anything to suggest that Joe Biden engaged in corrupt behavior? No. And on the contrary, Hunter Biden's business partner said, yeah, he was on some phone calls talking about the weather, exchanging pleasantries. Is that in the category of, presidential family members that are problematic? Billy Carter, Hugh Rodham, maybe it's in that category, but it is sure and absolutely not a crime.
So Archer did say that Hunter was selling the illusion of the Biden name, which is influence, and that's why you get on a call and you talk to those folks or whatever. So yeah, obviously it's for influence, it's for cash, it's for money, for people to pretend. Even if you were out to dinner and with friends or business partners or whatever, and your parents called, do you just like all start talking about the weather? Do you all just start talking about the weather? Now, I guess it would be cool for people to be like, hey, you give a shout out to the vice president or something. But come on. But yeah, they're going with this weather line. Now Dana Bash from CNN basically said something similar to what I said, like, well, of course they want to say hi to the president.
I mean, that's the question that Anderson asked about the fact that doesn't it appear shady? Does that mean that the president was involved in Hunter Biden's business dealings? No. But we all understand Washington, and we all understand that a lot of these relationships operate in the gray areas intentionally, especially when you have somebody who is either related to a famous person or a powerful person or used to work for a powerful person. You want your clients to know that you can get them on the phone.
Yeah. I mean,
DC is a place that they want to know how to use you, but that doesn't make it okay. My sister lived in DC for a minute, and she said that when you introduce yourself, you introduce yourself with where you work, or she'd be like, "Hi, I'm Gina. I work for the RNC." Because people are trying to figure out very quickly if you're kind of worth having a connection with. That's just how the place operates. And she said it was, a really fake place. And, I think there's no kind of dispute about that. It just operates differently, So I don't doubt that they wanted to make sure that Hunter really had a good, solid relationship with his dad. But it's really naive not to think that some shady stuff didn't go along. So yeah, there's more talk about the weather, guys. Let's trying to find another clip that here's a good one.
And I want to be very clear about one thing. He did describe that there were approximately 20 occasions over the course of their nearly decade-long business relationship where, when one of them called the other, that Hunter Biden would ask his father to say hello to whomever he was at dinner. He said there were some times when it was friends and sometimes when it was potential business partners or business partners. But the witness was unequivocal and stated very clearly that they never discussed any business on that phone conversations. There were niceties and there was a hello and we talked about the weather or whatever it was, but it was never any business.
Just the weather like 20 times. And again, before Archer did testify again, they did send out something like, "Hey, by the way, you've been charged and you need to report to jail." Not before he testified, but it very clearly seemed like an intimidation tactic. Here's one where they bring up Bo because they really like to bring up the fact that the president had a son that passed away. I'm not saying this timeline isn't correct, but man, he's just a guy who loves his son. That's all his sons. It's always what they want to go to with Joe to cover any sort of corruption, and that's where Joe goes. And I'm not saying he doesn't love his sons, but it's eventually it becomes apparent what they're doing.
Could you just, with specifics, tell us these phone calls that were a matter of such discussion yesterday? Like, what were they about? What would then Vice President Biden say in these conversations? Walk us through what happened.
Right. So let's put this in context. Beau Biden got very sick in early 2015. He died in the spring of 2015, which was right in the middle when Devon Archer had his business dealings with Hunter Biden. At that point, Joe Biden and Hunter Biden began to speak every day because they were both devastated by Beau's death. They spoke every day. The witness testified that over his 10-year relationship with Hunter Biden, there may be approximately 20 times when in one of those conversations, Hunter Biden would put his father at a dinner
not at a business meeting, at a dinner that he was having if he happened to get a hold of his father, and would ask his father to say hello to whoever was at the table. And that was essentially the extent of it. It was unclear, and the witness testified, this is not me saying that, the witness testified that a lot of times, most of the time, Joe didn't even know who the people were at the dinner table. So this was just simply, this may have been Hunter's effort to say, hey, this is, the vice president, this is my dad. But the critical part here for Congress, and that's what we have to make sure we understand, is that Joe Biden was doing nothing to benefit his son.
So, Congressman, you used the word illusion a couple of minutes ago, and Congressman Comer, your chairman, appears to...
Joe Biden, not again, there's millions of dollars and stuff that just wealth that Joe has that doesn't make sense how he has that wealth. You have Hunter Biden, who has said to his own daughter that he covers his dad's bills. You've had times when their bank accounts have been intertwined. It's not like they're so separate. It's more like symbiotic, right? Even still, he loves his son. I don't doubt that. I'm sure he really, 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 really loves his son. So his son getting all these goodies, peddling that sort of influence, is a benefit. That is a benefit. Just because you can't find like a Scrooge McDuck vault of gold where Joe Biden goes and swims in every day. That doesn't mean, if we can't find that vault of gold, that there's no smoking gun. There's plenty of evidence that shady stuff has happened. They are connected. We have plenty of proof that the president has lied, and the story keeps shifting. By the way, that Rep Goldman, he's that clown we played, like, was it last week or maybe late last week, where he was talking to one of the whistleblowers, and it was something along the lines of, oh, well, it doesn't look like Joe Biden led the conversation here. It looks like Hunter was leading the conversation. So how can you say that Joe Biden was behind it? And the whistleblower is like, okay, but you are proving, and that Joe Biden wasn't honest when he said he never talked to his son about business dealings. He's like, oh, so this is a clown. This is a clown. So we're gonna play. Jim Jordan's was on Fox and laid out a bit of a timeline to the Burisma situation. Just really quickly, I see guys from different places. I'm reading the chat from North Carolina. Someone's from Louisiana. Someone's from Texas. So just thank you guys being in the chat. I know I don't always respond in real time to all comments out there because I'm trying to keep track of my thoughts as I'm talking, but I do appreciate you guys. Someone's in Wisconsin, Illinois. God help you. Hopefully you're in not Chicago close. Oh gosh, someone's in Chicago. Stay safe out there. But yeah, I just thank you guys for commenting, for watching live, and those of you who watch it back. I do appreciate it. So just wanted to thank you guys. Okay, so here's a little bit from Jordan, just laying this out.
Says they're having a board meeting in Dubai on December 4th, 2015. After the board meeting, Hunter Biden meets with Devin Archer, Zolochevsky, and Pizarski, the two key guys who run Burisma. They meet for drinks. During that meeting, they say, we need the U.S. government to intervene. We're under pressure from the prosecutor. We're facing pressure in Great Britain because they've sanctioned and seized our assets, £23 million in Britain. We need some help. They make a phone call to D.C. Mr. Archer, I don't know who they call, but they called D.C. And 5 days later, December 9th, 2015, Joe Biden is in Ukraine, and he gives a speech starting the pressure on the prosecutor in Ukraine. 5 days after that meeting, 5 days after a phone call to D.C., 5 days where they used the Biden brand. According to what we learned today, the Biden brand was the value Hunter Biden brought to this business arrangement. That took place simply 5 days later.
The brand was Joe, wasn't it, though?
And then, of course, we know. Yeah, the brand was totally Joe Biden, the guy with the power and the connections in D.C. But 5 days after that, this conversation takes place, this speech takes place, and then a few months later, that clip you just played, Shokin gets fired. That's how serious this was.
I keep this clip in my queue pretty much at all times because I know I'm going to use it again. So let's go back to Joe Biden's confession about the prosecutor that he got fired.
I remember going over convincing our team, or others too, convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time. Well,
so they can say that he actually needed to be fired because he was corrupt. Ukraine is, there's a lot of corruption there. I question. I mean, we've sent a lot of money and stuff to Ukraine. I'm sure much of it not tracked, and I don't know. I just question everything. I don't talk a lot about foreign policy stuff because I mean, I know he should. I mean, I'm no expert in the field or anything like that, but I just have a lot of questions about everything, about everything. But it's quite a coincidence that someone who they wanted gone, needed gone, Joe Biden flexed and made sure was gone. And maybe everything is above board, but again, the timing is suspicious. And it really, really did help out Hunter Biden and the company that he was working for. And really, really proving the worth of that Biden name. Let's go back to the 2020 campaign trail with this angry Joe Biden talking to Peter Doocy on the campaign trail, how he just really deflected to Trump after there's questions about him.
Here's what I know. I know Trump deserves to be investigated. He is violating every basic norm of a president. You should be asking him the question, why is he on the phone with a foreign leader, trying to intimidate a foreign leader, if that's what happened. That appears what happened. You should be looking at Trump. Trump's doing this because he knows I'll beat him like a drum. And he's using the abuse of power and every element of the presidency to try to do something to smear me. Everybody looked at this, and everybody's looked at it and said there's nothing there. Ask the right question.
Ask the right questions, bruh. That's what he told the media. If you recall, and I mentioned this yesterday because I'm gonna have to write an article laying all this out, but Trump was impeached the first time. We all remember the second time, but the first time he was impeached, one for obstruction of Congress, which I thought was just so bogus and really arrogant of the Congress to be like, our feelings are hurt. Let's add ourselves in there. Maybe they felt like they needed a special oomph in there, a little bit of spice and pettiness and spite. I don't know. But the other thing was abuse of power. And the abuse of power was largely related to Trump's not so perfect phone call. You'd call it a perfect phone call, but they wanted which apparently according to the phone call, the transcripts and even talking to the Ukrainian president and stuff, they weren't really aware of them possibly withholding funds that were already allocated to Ukraine. But Trump was thinking about holding that back until they had looked at some different things that they wanted to look into, including some things that he heard about Joe. And so they were like, well, this is awful that you're trying to manipulate and use these sort of funds for that, which seems, I don't know, a little bit similar to at least what Joe Biden said on video that he did. But there was a remedy within the law itself, because because if it's appropriated, you're not supposed to just like decide like that. But the remedy wasn't impeachment. If someone breaks that law, I think it might have been a fine or something. I have to go back and look at that law. But we know the reality is that he got impeached for digging, for looking into stuff with Joe, because they said like you're going after political opponent. And Joe Biden said Trump needed to be investigated, and lo and behold, he's a president, and Trump is being investigated up the wazoo. And I'm not in some things that Trump obviously some of the stuff is the Bragg thing is state level. That one's really stupid. Everyone agrees that's stupid. And there's other things they're looking to that I don't think maybe will pan out much, but the classified emails, not emails, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Hillary Clinton, documents, and particularly the one that he allegedly was on tape talking about and showed people in the room. I think that's his biggest problem, because they weren't even like going to do anything about classified documents in the original indictment. And we didn't even know that document was real at first, because I don't think they mentioned it or had it in their possession or anything. So they just added on to that last week. But if it was Joe or if it was Hillary and Trump was in the position looking at something similar, they just let's say it was a second term and Joe Biden, did what Trump is being accused of, they would just try to impeach him again. We are living in an upside down world, and I'm not trying to excuse anything that's alleged within the indictment or stuff. I'm just saying that they are playing by a totally different set of rules. They are playing by a totally different set of rules, and they didn't mind going after political opponents, because you know what? That's precisely what happened in the Obama era. They weaponized the IRS, for example, and went after conservatives. If you had things like Patriot in your name, they were going after you, and all this stuff never went all the way up to, they couldn't quite ever get Obama with the different scandals that they had. But when Trump was, on the campaign trail in 2016 stuff, they were looking into him spying on his campaign, and Joe Biden suggested using the Logan Act to go after Trump's folks. So they were always gunning for him, and I don't think Trump should make their job easier for them. He's not responsible for every smear or attack that they've used against him. He does create some of his own problems sometimes, but which is unfortunate, because they never were going to play fair with him. They were never going to play fair with him, and they always hated that he won. They always hated that he dared to buck the system. And he got impeached for looking at Biden at stuff that man did. So but they're just talking about the weather, guys. Just talking about the weather. Oy vey. Oy vey. We'll keep looking at this story. For sure. I saw someone in the comments is from California. Poor you. But I'm from Michigan, and we're not as bad as California, but they're definitely trying to make it so. When there's all these reports of people trying to like flee Florida, there's like a chill that goes down my spine. I'm like, dear God, where are they going? Because if I had to guess, they might be coming here. I know our governor like advertises all that stuff like we're so friendly for all these crazy leftist things. So and people have been fleeing Michigan. I know people who've left Michigan and gone to Florida. So I don't think they'll really recover enough numbers to I don't know, get a bigger population boost next time we need some when they redo the maps or anything like that. Um but they're going somewhere, and I'm scared they're coming here because I don't know why you go to California. So I don't know where they're going. If they're not going here, maybe they'll go to like I don't know, other like big lib cities, even though they could be in red areas. But it seems like Michigan would probably be a good bet for them. So I don't know. It makes me concerned. It makes me really concerned. Moving on, this Lizzo story is pretty crazy. And if you're not familiar with Lizzo, she's a artist who's a um I'm not going to show you any of her like obscene photos, pics, cuz I don't know if you guys had lunch or you guys are ready for dinner. Um but she's had some backup singers who not backup dancers who are alleging that she has mistreated them, and including things with fat shaming. So our culture is all for like body positivity and whatnot, and apparently behind the scenes she has been not so kind to some of these people, and she's forced them to do some sexual things as well. So we will get into that article. I am not sponsored by T-Mobile. Former Lizzo dancers were weight shamed and pressured while at a strip club, lawsuit says. So article's kind of long, but I think it's interesting. This is one of our like pop icons right now. If you don't follow Lizzo, it's likely that I don't listen to her music. I don't jive with it. It doesn't relate to me. I don't like it. I can see how some of the stuff is like catchy, I guess. But I'm sure if you've watched something like The Masked Singer, or if you, I don't know, watch commercials, I'm sure you've heard a bit of of a Lizzo song. I thought about doing a Kamala thing with like blame it on the juice, but um I don't know if I will or won't, but anyway, Los Angeles. 3 of Lizzo's former dancers have accused the singer of sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment in a lawsuit filed Tuesday. They also allege that she pressured one of them to touch a nude performer at an Amsterdam club and subjected the group to an excruciating audition after leveling false accusations that they were drinking on the job. The dancers Lizzo The dancers accused Lizzo, a performer known for embracing body positivity, of celebrating her physique, of calling attention to one dancer's weight gain, and later berating, then firing that dancer after she recorded a meeting because of a health condition. The suit, filed in Los Angeles Superior Court and provided to NBC News by the plaintiff's law firm, also accuses the captain of Lizzo's dance team of proselytizing to other performers and deriding those who had premarital sex while sharing lewd sexual fantasies, simulating oral sex, and publicly discussing the virginity of one of the plaintiffs. The suit does not say if Lizzo knew about the allegations linked to the dance captain. Shirlene Quigley, one of the plaintiffs, believed the singer was aware of their complaints about her, according to their lawyer, Ron Zambrano. Probably Brano. The suit named Lizzo, whose real name is Melissa Vervain Jefferson, her production company, and Quigley as defendants. In addition to accusations of a hostile work environment and sexual harassment, the suit brings claims for religious and racial harassment, false imprisonment, interference with prospective economic advantage, and other allegations. Not every claim was brought against each defendant. I've said this before, by the way, and I think the way that Lizzo carries herself, and the things that she wears is so trashy. And not just because she's a big girl. Just, I mean, I think that girls who go and some of the things that she wears are pretty trashy. And but I don't think that she has to do that. I think her being big is like the gimmick, but she I don't know how if she writes her own music and stuff, but it's been very popular and it's been catchy and it's been all over the place. And I don't feel that she's need to kind of have this I'm a gross big slut thing about her that's been used to kind of market who she is when she's, she people gave her crap for, playing a flute or whatever. I forget which historical figure the flute was or whatever, but she's in a museum or something. She can really play. She's talented, a talented young woman, and she could do more or be better than how she's portrayed herself. And not too long ago, I think we talked about her because she was sick of all the harassment that she's gotten over the years. And it's like, you've made this bed. You've made this bed that you're in. People see you a particular way because that's how you built your brand. And so I'm not surprised. These are all allegations in the lawsuit. Who knows? If all these things are true or not true. But I can say they're surprising because they're a bit shocking because they're just like, eh? But they're not. I can see it being in the realm of possibility. Anyway, the stunning nature of how Lizzo and her management team treated their performance seemed to go against everything Lizzo stands for publicly, while privately she weight shames her dancers and demeans them in ways that are not only illegal but absolutely demoralizing. The suit accuses Lizzo of calling attention to the dancer's weight after appearances South by Southwest Music Festival. The singer and her choreographer later told the dancer Ariana Davis that she seemed less committed to her role, a comment the suit describes as a thinly veiled concern about Davis's weight. Representatives for Lizzo did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Quigley did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Efforts to reach Lizzo's production company, Big Touring Incorporated, were unsuccessful. Davis and another former dancer, Crystal Williams, began performing with Lizzo after competing on her Amazon reality show, Watch Out for the Big Girls, in 2021. According to the suit, the dancers were later fired. The third, Noel Rodriguez, was hired the same year after performing in the video Rumors. The suit says Rodriguez resigned earlier this year. The trip to Amsterdam strip club, Bananabar, happened after a performance in the city earlier this year. The suit states that Lizzo's after parties were routine and non-mandatory, but alleges that those who attended were favored by the singer and had a greater job security. At the club, Lizzo allegedly began inviting cast members to take turns touching the nude performers, catching dildos launched from the performers' vajayjays, and eating bananas protruding from the performers' vajayjays, the suit says. Lizzo then turned her attention to Miss Davis and began pressuring Miss Davis to touch her breast and one of the nude women. Davis declined, according to the suit, and Lizzo allegedly led a chant, goading her to do so. After Davis declined 3 more times, the chant grew louder and more strident, demanding a visibly uncomfortable Miss Davis to engage with the performer. When Davis eventually acquiesced and briefly touched the performer, the group burst into laughter, the suit says. Afterward, Lizzo allegedly oppressed a member of her security staff to get on the stage and began yelling, "Take it off," according to the suit. Plaintiffs were aghast with how little regard Lizzo showed for their bodily autonomy of her employees and those around her, especially in the presence of many people whom she employed. The suit says a week later, after a show in Paris, Lizzo invited her dancers to a club so they would be able to learn something or be inspired by their performance. The suit says what Lizzo failed to mention when inviting the dancers to this performance was that it was a nude cabaret bar. The suit described the performance as artful, but the plaintiffs were shocked that Lizzo would conceal the nature of the event from them, robbing them of their choice not to participate. The racial harassment claim is linked to what the suit describes as comments charged with racial and fat phobic animus that were made by touring company employees. In one instance, the former dancers asked to be compensated for their downtime at a rate of 50% their weekly pay, according to the suit. An accountant allegedly responded to the request by offering 25% and scolding them for helping unacceptable and disrespectful. Only the dance cast, comprised of full figured women of color, were ever spoken to in this manner, the suit states. The religious harassment allegation is connected to Quigley, the dance captain, who also worked as a judge on Lizzo's reality show. According to the suit, she preached her Christian beliefs and took every opportunity to proselytize to any and all in her presence, regardless of um, prostinations. After discovering that Davis was a virgin, Quigley discussed the subject in interviews and posted about it on social media, the suit says. And when the cast members asked her to stop pressuring Rodriguez, whom Quigley regarded as a non believer, according to the suit, about her faith, Quigley responded, "No job, and no one will stop me from talking about the Lord." I don't think anything should stop you from talking about the Lord, but I don't think you were in the spirit when you took that job. Profession. I'm sorry. That is the respected for preaching, but ma'am. Anyway, two dancers were fired in April and May, according to the suit. William lost her job on April 26, days after she spoke up at a meeting in which she challenged an assertion from Lizzo that the dancers were drinking before performances the day before. Lizzo had told the group that they would have to audition again, a move that prompted what the suit described as an excruciating 12-hour rehearsal. If Lizzo was dissatisfied with their performances, the suit alleges the dancers would be fired and sent home. During the rehearsal, Davis was so fearful she'd lose her job if she went to the bathroom. She soiled her pants. She was given a see through outfit with no undergarments to finish the performance, the suit says. When Lizzo raised the issue again the following day, Williams responded saying the dancers didn't drink, the suit says. The singer then allegedly offered what the suit described as a mocking reply, "Well, if you're not, then good for y'all." 5 days later, on April 26th, Lizzo's tour manager fired Williams in a hotel lobby, the suit says. The manager attributed the termination to budget cuts, said the suit, which noted that no one else was fired. Rodriguez complained to the manager about the decision to publicly fire Williams, a move that Lizzo repeatedly raised with the dancers during an April 27 meeting, during which she told the group that she had eyes and ears everywhere, according to the suit. Davis recorded the April 27 meeting because she suffered from an eye condition that sometimes left her disoriented and stressful situations. The suit says days later, Lizzo held an emergency meeting and had security employees confiscate dancers' phones, the suit states. Lizzo became furious, hurling expletives at the group, and stated that she was going to go around the room person by person until someone told Lizzo who made the recording, the suit says. Davis acknowledged recording the meeting, saying she said she wanted to have a copy of Lizzo's performance notes. The suit says when Davis said she hadn't meant any harm and that she'd delete the video, Lizzo allegedly responded, "There is nothing you can say to make me believe you." Ms. Quigley and Lizzo then took turns berating Ms. Davis, the suit says. After castigating Ms. Davis, Lizzo fired Ms. Davis on the spot. Before Lizzo left the meeting, Rodriguez told her that she felt disrespected and would resign. The suit says Lizzo responded by cracking her knuckles, balling her fist, and using an expletive to tell Rodriguez she was lucky, the suit says. As Rodriguez left, the suit says Lizzo raised both her middle fingers and yelled a slur. The suit alleges false imprisonment against Lizzo's production company because a member of her security detail allegedly forced Davis to remain in the room after the meeting ended so she could search her phone for the video. The suit does not not specify a dollar amount for damages that cover emotional distress and including unpaid wages, loss of earnings, and attorney fees. In the meantime, Lizzo continues to inspire fans. In a recent video circulating on social media, the singer can be seen telling a young woman attending a concert in Australia how beautiful and special she is and how she could be the greatest dancer in the world. Speaking to the fan who she said had been bullied online, Lizzo said, "The word says that we have a long lasting effect on people." Isn't that a crazy story? Isn't that a crazy story? I'm gonna have to look at your comments. To look at your comments. um, if anyone said anything about, no, y'all still talking about how crazy your cities are. Yeah, but that's gross. The things alleged. But you have all these celebrities that encourage degeneracy. You see it in their shows. You see it when they're on the red carpets, in their interviews on social media. There are some people who are performance artists and some things that they do. You can see it in, like, I don't know, sometimes, within the world of music and even politics, and people are pretty theatrical and, really think and do everything differently themselves. But a lot of times when people show you who they are, you kind of believe them. So I can see her getting kind of angry and threatening folks, and but man, you don't do that when you got employees, man. Um, so I don't know if everything alleged is true. But we'll see. I guess they'll hash it out in courts. But it was just a wild story. Just a really, really wild story. Last thing I want to mention before I let you guys go. I know we're a little over. But Stephen Amell, he's an actor who was on the TV show Green Arrow. He was the main character, Oliver Queen, that kind of started the CW Arrowverse, which, by the way, CW has like never been profitable. But the first couple seasons were pretty good. Um I I didn't end up watching all of Arrow, and I ended up quit. I'm not gonna get into why I quit watching the CW and stuff today. But there's the writer strike going on right now, and apparently Stephen Amell is not happy about it. So some people are pretty upset about Stephen Amell's not being for the strike. So I want to go ahead and play his video talking about it, because the different response that I'm seeing, I think it lays out a really important issue here with, I guess, unions, I suppose.
I feel like
and the ongoing strike that is happening.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm insulated in Hollywood because that's where I live. I literally live in Hollywood, like all the stereotypes that exist. So I feel like a lot of people in this room aren't aware of the strike. I support my union, I do, and I stand with them. I do not support striking. I don't. I think that it is a reductive negotiating tactic. And I find the entire thing incredibly frustrating. And I think that the thinking as it pertains to shows like the show that I'm on that premiered last night, I think that is...
Woo!
I think that it is, I think it's myopic, and I stand with my union.
So, some people are really upset. I saw a few TikToks about this earlier, and comments were pretty brutal, but he had some other folks who were, on the CW on other superhero shows that, some addressed him directly, some you knew that they were talking about him. And people get really, 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 really upset if you do not submit to the rules, that if you do not just like, I don't know, pick up a sign and go on the picket line and just be like, we're for the strike and do, give in to our demands, etc., blah, blah, blah. And he did make a bit of a clarifying statement. He said, what I meant, nothing is about the strike is funny, but if I may say, if I may self-deprecate for a moment, I have no clue what I was trying to say here. Who says I think that I'm thinking? Perhaps it was an inarticulate shout out to our crew and cast who mean the world to me. I'm simply sad that we don't have a chance to celebrate a show that all of us figuratively and I literally broke my back for. As I said from the jump, I want to ensure that my thoughts and my intentions are not misconstrued. This situation reminds me of the proverb, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, which apparently, after reading a limited amount of the commentary, is a place many of you would like me to visit. Oh boy. However, at least for the foreseeable future, I choose to stand with my union. When you see me on a picket line, please don't whip any hard fruit, Stephen. So I don't know. I could understand from that little snippet that and I guess I don't know word for word if he said this, but my assumption would be he's talking about a show that he's on, and he says he stands with the union. They're fighting to not be taken over by AI and for other sort of benefits and stuff, and to get paid residuals and stuff with the streaming, which I can understand wanting that. I don't think these streaming platforms have the money like maybe they think they have the money, and so I don't think they'll ever really try to show those numbers. So I don't know where they're gonna be able to meet in the road at all. But there's people who have shows premiering or different films and stuff that they want to premiere or show or whatever, and they're not allowed to promote them. They're not allowed to promote things that they need to do well, that they like to do well, things that they, like he said, broke his back for, but people worked hard for people to see. If you're watching different TV shows, like I was at Bell Tire getting my air conditioner fixed on Saturday, and I think I was watching like Extra or something, some kind of local media Hollywood Access kind of show. Maybe it was Hollywood Access. I don't know. I don't remember. But they can't play interviews. They can't have interviews. They've had all these talent, on different shows like Breakfast Club and other places that have talked about how they've had all these actors like booked up to promote different stuff, and then they can't do it anymore because they're not allowed to. So if you see stuff like that, they'll be like, "Oh, we're playing this old interview that we did," or so maybe they happen to, and they played an interview for the Haunted Mansion that they did prior to the strike, which didn't look good to me, but apparently wasn't that great according to Savvy and some other people who reviewed it. And it's probably gonna be another big bomb. But I think Tom Cruise said we tried to like advocate for people to still be able to promote their films and stuff because the movie industry, the theaters themselves need that kind of boost and enthusiasm. Now Barbie and had a lot of promotion prior to before it came out, and people were excited about Oppenheimer, and they decided to do like this people are doing this Barbieheimer sort of weekend thing, so people decided to do that, so they're both doing well, and there's obviously a lot of commentary and stuff on Barbie, so it's, I don't know how well overall they'll do like toward the end, but they're doing well. But there's other stuff coming out that could use that boost, and not just at the movie theaters, but different programs and stuff. So the fact that they can't go out there and really support something that they love, something that they made, that'd be pretty maddening and upsetting too. So I don't fault Stephen Amell, but people had some pretty harsh words for him. But let's. Everybody obviously probably didn't want to strike. Now, the union did vote to strike, pretty overwhelmingly to go to strike. But if you're in a union, you don't have much choice on matters when the union wants to do something. So that's the issue with it. And if you don't comply, then they bully you. And he's, he said he feels like people want him to go to hell. And he's probably not wrong. He's saying, please don't throw hard fruit at me. So, excuse me. They make you comply, and I don't think that's a good thing. So in these situations, it's like, well, we're the heroes fighting for the little people and so on. But if you're not a union person, if you're a non-union person and you want to do stuff, or you try to like scab or like take a job or something that maybe would have been another job for like a someone within the union, then they're like, well, you can never join the union. So they find a way to intimidate people who have nothing to do with it. We're just kind of looking for an opportunity since you're not working. Um, so you know, I don't I don't like either side of it, I guess. I can be sympathetic to what they're fighting for. At the same time, I don't think I don't know. There's a section of the internet that probably cares. I don't. It hasn't affected my life. I saw I saw a video with the girl who played Snow White though. Rachel Ziegler, and she said, I'm striking, or I support the strike, because if I have to wear a dress for 12 hours as a Disney princess, then I want to get paid for every hour that streams on the internet or something. And people are roasting her like that's not how ordinary everyday people function and work. Like, I understand people wanting to be paid residuals. I mean, when people buy I you know, if you got Kindle Unlimited or something, I want to be paid for every page that is read, and I want to be paid for every book that's sold as a royalty. But those are things that are, I understand when I put my stuff up for sale that will happen. The game has really changed from like cable was set a certain way, and streaming is a whole different monster. But a lot of these streaming platforms aren't doing well. Like Disney Plus is not profitable. Disney is talking about selling itself to Apple. And I asked my sister, I'm like, do you think that Disney is going to sell to Apple? She's like, why do you think Nancy Pelosi bought stock? Because she follows Nancy Pelosi's stock buys. She's like, she bought it not too long ago. I'm like, so did you buy some Apple? She's like, yep, I bought some Apple. So who knows if that'll happen? Don't be surprised if the deal goes through. If they do make put itself up for sale and Apple does that, man, that's a lot of power. But Disney has lost a lot of money on these big projects, and I think with Snow White it's just really getting worse too. They're gonna lose money on Little Mermaid. They're gonna lose at least like $100 million on it, I think. They lost money on Lightyear, Strange World, which they didn't really promote. I think Elementals wasn't. I don't know if that came out to. It definitely wasn't doing well at first, but it looked like it started to kind of crawl and do well. But the Snow White film, what they did with the dwarves was pretty bad. Like they could overcome like the diversity higher casting of the lead and her not actually being white, but the dwarves thing is weird. And then she doesn't need true love, or she's not dreaming of true love. It's like you literally hate where you've come from. I did a video snippet of a video that I already did. If you didn't see like me talk about that particular interview, I do have like a video that's cut out that you can go watch, but I just posted a short today, and on my YouTube, my Twitter comment about it, I said these people stand on the shoulders of giants and then they take a dump on them. There's just no respect. Like, just go make a new thing. So Hollywood is in trouble for a lot of reasons. So mainly when I look at this writer strike, I'm going to do a skit or something about it, but I think about how they despise everything that came before, how they'll take your favorite IP, intellectual property, and just totally hollow it out and just have their agenda and then wear their their skin as a shield and be like, this is the thing that you love. It no longer exists, it's dead inside, but here's the agenda. And Captain America is going to talk about how Jordan Peterson is a, you know basically the Red Skull, stuff like that. So and I know that's not a movie, but that's just an example. But they keep taking the stuff that we love, they screw it up, and then if you don't like it, they call you sexist, they call you racist or whatever. And I don't like it. And if you complain about stuff, they're like, well, we love making fun of you trolls, like the She-Hulk thing. I'm like, why did you just make a good TV show instead of prepping for people to hate it? And like build that into the plot, like it's designed knowing that people would despise it. Why not just like you just made you made an entire TV show to high five yourself? Why don't you just make a good TV show? It doesn't make any sense. But that's, we've been living in a world of really like terrible writing and just. And so I really liked Oppenheimer. I thought it was good, but I thought it was overhyped. And my sister told me, she's like, maybe it's just the fact that we have not had good stuff in a long time. There's been a lot of really, really terrible movies that have been popping up. So for people to see something that's, well written and really well acted and just a plethora of, good stuff, maybe they're just losing their minds. And I'm like, maybe so. Maybe so. But my feelings ain't hurt because they on the picket line. And I think most people are thinking about how high gas is. It's about $4 where I am right now. Steadily going up. People are concerned about how high food prices are. And while it's so tough, you have the president going around saying Bidenomics, like they are just doing so well. And they're trying to convince people that the economy is great when they know that it's not. I know it said it was going to let you go, but there was, I think MSNBC, one of the networks did something about Bidenomics. Let me see if I can find their graphics for it. But people aren't like being receptive to the Bidenomics. They're not convincing people that the economy is suddenly good. Now there's people out there who will go ahead and preach the nonsense, but that doesn't mean that enough people will be convinced, because they feel it every time they go to the grocery store. They feel it when they go to the gas tank. They know the economy is not doing well. They know it's not doing well. So when people say that they're actors and they want to get paid every time they're in a Disney princess dress for every hour it's streamed, because once upon a time you had to wear a dress for 12 hours. If that's not even like it, I could understand if she was like Sylvester Stallone talking about a Rambo movie, or if she was Jim Caviezel and she had to get struck by lightning by playing Jesus and having her shoulder dislocated and nearly die. But you're talking about you wore a princess dress, and that's why you want to make sure that you get paid for every hour that it's streamed, because that's so hard. And on top of that, people don't even want you cast in that position. It's just so mind-blowing. So here's a poll. It was CBS News poll, YouGov. Prices in the last few weeks have been going up. That's what people are saying. Words to describe the US economy: struggling at 61%, uncertain 56%, unfair 36%, punishing 27%, rebounding 15%, expanding 11%. Oh, skip one. Let me go back. Is your work income keeping up with inflation? 30% said yes. 70% said no. Not everyone works for the post office, man. Their union's like automatic, just pops. Condition of the US economy. Most people say bad. And that bad has not shifted from June to now. So Bidenomics is not convincing anybody. Not convincing anybody. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, different videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation on the website. It costs to stream, it costs to run my website, and there's other different things that I like to do and like to expand upon. So if you can support, whether it's a gift of $10 or $20, $50 or more, it's very much appreciated. There is a link in the description to go to the donate page if you would like to do that. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, you can also, someone yesterday said they had an issue with stars, so I have to still look into that. But there, again, you guys can go right to the website and donate that way if you would like to support in that way. Thank you guys for being in the chat. Thank you guys who are watching back later. And so it's exciting to see where everybody is from. And my heart goes out to people in places more liberal than my neck of the woods. But sadly, I think, we're getting to those places, but but thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for viewing. Please check out different merch on the website as well. Different shirts, different mugs, and so on. Please check out some of my books, like, of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion. It covers theology, it covers philosophy, it covers rights, it covers a lot of politics, mostly like US politics, because hey, that's where I'm from. But it's a great book for those who ask, like, why go the theological route, because people bring it up anyway, and I was sick of having to defend it anyway. So I used to like not bring up religion because people say don't bring up religion, whatever. I'm like, okay, I don't need to, and I didn't want to get distracted in that sort of way. And then but people bringing it up anyway. They'd be like, oh, you're a Christian because you believe life is valuable, and oh, you must be. I'm like, I didn't say anything about the. And then they'd like throw out these allegations like, oh, life starts at first breath. So I had to keep addressing things, and I had to make multiple videos, and then I started writing articles, and eventually just morphed into this big undertaking. And eventually I just I think it's great that there's so many people out there that just kind of stick to the the philosophical stuff and the science, and that's mostly still what I want to engage in. But at the same time, as a believer, I think it's important to defend the gospel too, I guess. So if people bring it up, I want to know, I'm like, well, what is it particularly about what what are you interpreting about me being a Christian and this issue that you have a problem with, and go from there. Like, is your issue that I believe that life is inherently valuable, or all human beings are inherently valuable? Let's talk that out. If that's your issue, if you think I'm a Christian because that's where, or I have that belief because of my Christianity, let's lay that out, you know, or my view on objective morality. Let's lay that out. Why killing another human being is objectively bad, like, we can go from there. So I do think those are important conversations to have, and that's another reason why I made the book. But whether you're religious or not, there's plenty of stuff to enjoy within the book as well. I promise you, if you're pro-life, regardless of the fact of whether you're religious, people are going to bring stuff up anyway. So it's good to know that stuff that's in the book. So it's a good read. So go ahead and please check it out. I see Tina in the chat. Tina is the one who did the cover, by the way, this beautiful artwork. So please go ahead and check out her stuff. You know what? While you're here, I'm going to just go to her website and make her blush. You guys can't see her blushing, but we'll go to Tina's text portraits. Shall share the screen. We shall share the screen and brag a little bit about Tina. She just got she's on Twitch a lot streaming, and she just stream on YouTube, but she just was able to get into the affiliate program. So she does qualify to get paid on Twitch now. So she's been very consistent with her different streams. You had a stream, I think she had a stream today, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe I'm mistaken. So let's go to some of her paintings. So she has a lot of these little mini ones that she has. Look how pretty some of this stuff is. These make I know, oh gosh, that one's really good. Tina, that one's really good. That one's really good. And they do come with the little easels. They do come with the little easels. And they make good little gifts for friends and family. For them to, decorate, put in little locations in their house. Some of these that are sold out, she can make ones that are similar. Nobody's gotten this. She can also put them attach like different ribbons and stuff if you guys want to have like interesting sort of ornaments for your Christmas trees and stuff. So just go ahead and check out her stuff. She's got more than paintings. Thank you to those who are still on watching me gush over my baby sister. Let me text portraits. She also does this thing called, this is really fascinating. So she will draw a picture of you or in a scene or a person or something, and she will do it out of a phrase or out of a name. Like this Jesus here is just John 3:16. At one point, I think somewhere, you guys can't see my hand. um Up through the arm or something, I think she gets the whole scripture out, but you can get she doesn't have that original, but the print you guys can get on her site. I'm sure we got some Trumpers in here. She's got this Donald here. She's got Lincoln, she's got Reagan, she's got Martin Luther King, she's got that Obama, she's got that Keanu. I think Keanu is the latest one she's done. No, I guess the latest one is probably that Miles there. People really like her Jokers. She also has videos on her YouTube of her doing these speed paintings. I mean, speed tech of her writing it, but she's recording herself, so they're sped up. People really love her Doctor Who stuff. The David Tennant, the TARDIS here is really popular. This Jensen Ackles is the first one that she ever did in school. Dean Cain actually has his portrait. Brandon Ralph has his portrait too. So she has Pokemon. People really like her Pokemon. Her Daryl is just like crazy if you're like The Walking Dead. The time that she put into this was just insane. And again, it just says Daryl. That's what it says over and over again. So anyway, her website is tinastextportraits.com, and she can add the link in the comments somewhere. So yeah, she does a really great art. So I'm very, grateful to her for the cover on my book. And she is doing some artwork for me for a children's book that I wrote called Bigger. It's about a little baby dinosaur. So I'll be really excited when she finishes that and that's out. But yeah, she does really great work, and I hope you guys will. I appreciate you guys when you buy my books or when you donate and stuff, but it does warm my heart when you guys, fancy over to Sister Tina and you go pick up some of her stuff. So anyway, thank you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. I don't think I will be streaming every day this week, because this weekend we do have a revival at my church, and actually Tina's preaching on Friday night and I'm preaching on Sunday, and we have like a picnic on Saturday. So it's a very busy weekend. And since I'm like headlining, it's a youth revival, and I just I'm gonna take some time to pray and get myself together and stuff. So I'm thinking probably Thursday and Friday might not stream, but I will let you know tomorrow because I do plan to stream tomorrow. So anyway, thank you guys very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.